All right, blessings. This is Jaia, Guru without an ashram, part 3 of our little ditty here on music, a little flow on the topic of music. And this is a story that was really transforming for me as I was going through a particular piece of things with the music. So this CD was being recorded. It's called Pure Divinity. Here's the back. In the studio. And I was having a challenge with the studio because I was used to doing the music live. The first time I ever did music, it was actually inside the prison, federal prison, where I was going weekly. And at first I was going in with the group, and then I started going in they asked me to come in and, interestingly, do a program on living foods, because that's on nutrition in general. And then I noticed the strange sort of, if you want to call it irony, I'm the first time person raised their hand. Someone raised their hand after I brought in a handout and different foods and talking a little bit about cleansing. They said, "Excuse me, I don't have access to most of these things on this list." So I said, "Well, when you get out, maybe you can." But it turned out to be that people were in the commissary. I found out people could actually buy things and nuts and fruits, and they were buying those things. They said they were getting inspired to shift things. They actually were changing things. But I said, for when you get out, this would be good. Another part about that is when I came in one time and I didn't have my guitar. And I didn't sing that day. It was like one of the one days, because I was somewhere else and I couldn't get back home in time to pick up the guitar. I didn't have it with me, and I had to just come straight to the prison. And someone said, they said, "I don't literally mean this, but just take it for what it is. That, if you're not going to bring your guitar or sing, don't bother coming in." And I said, "I don't really mean that, because this was still a good session." But so the music, it was really a big part of things. So I don't know how I got onto that, but I always find that the feedback would be that those pieces that I don't mean to talk about can be significant for some people. So it all weaves together. But the story that I wanted to share was, it was when I was at the gym one morning, and I'm getting out, and I get a call from someone, and she said, the Hopi are doing their water blessing ceremony in Malibu. Can you come? And I was in Pacific Palisades at the time, so it was very close, and that's where the gym was. And so I said, well, perfect time, I'll be there right now. So it was the Hopi tribe, as I found out, I believe it was every 2 years that they came and they did this ceremony, which is known as the water blessing. It was profound. So that several things happened, and it won't. I'm not being guided to share all of it and everything. The part that was really significant was when the singers were singing. It wasn't all perfectly in pitch and in tune. And this is what I was struggling with while I was inside making the CD. Everything, let's get the auto tuner if it's just not just absolutely precise, and let's do this and get that. And I was really struggling with that. That's where I ended up in the prison, because I was used to singing with people in a circle, and it wasn't necessarily this like perfect, everything perfect kind of thing, but the healings were happening, and the field was present, right? I don't know how to explain this, but there was a space that was created, right, that was very conducive to healing, which was the intention. It wasn't to sound perfect, right? That wasn't the intention. Uh, it wasn't to, do the best one ever. So the intention itself was healing. And so listening to the Native American singers, it was like a prayer, but the sounds, right? It wasn't sounding like a choir, in other words. It was really different. And so that's a different thing, right? Hearing the choir and hearing things that are in pitch, that are in perfect harmony, and that also brings you into a state, right? You can get into these very beautiful, very illuminated, very hallelujah. You get into those states, and there's also absolutely something to that. But this was different. And so these sounds, it was almost in tears. It was really beautiful, but it definitely didn't sound, again, like a choir, right, as they were singing. It didn't sound like it was in perfect pitch, or however you couldn't measure it, right? It really was something that was just way outside bounds. And I remember having an insight at that time of like, oh, this is why I'm struggling so much in the studio, because this music is really coming from this other place, and it's not necessarily, my music teacher would get after me, guitar teacher, using the metronome. That's a whole other video, actually. And it wasn't in perfect time, necessarily. And I would try to explain to him, it's like, no, because we're going into the timeless. And the timeless is like, that's where the 0 point energy is, and that's where the field is. And that's where the healing occurs, because we go into the timeless, and it's this whole thing. And it's not always necessarily then timing in metronome land. And so, it was going into those other places that that the water healers, that the prayer singers were going into. And after that event, we went to the top of the hill, and there was a house that was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright up in Malibu, and we looked down, right? And I can't remember, it wasn't a lot of people, but maybe 40, 50, 60, something like that, 70, maybe there was. And we looked down onto the ocean, and where we had been, the water was clear. Like where we were on the beach, there was a whole area of the water that was continuing to expand, because we continued to watch it. And that it looked clearer and brighter than the rest of the water in the ocean. And then I had an insight of, wow, maybe that's what's happening in people's bodies as I'm singing, potentially out of tune, not right, doing it the wrong way. But maybe that's what's happening, is we're going into that. Something is happening with the sounds, and that it is connected with the greater, and how I really have always felt it too, as I shared the connection with the earth, and the connection with certain places and certain things. So it feels like there could be more to come in this area, if it be divine will. Right? If it be your will. Thinking of the Leonard Cohen song, if it be your will. So there's so much gratitude for that experience, and I went ahead and sang in the studio, and finished the CD eventually, and all of that. And I still suspect there's some of that healing energy in that CD buried within it. There's a little something that's off, or that's on in a different way, right? In a different way. And so, not judging by appearances, sometimes there's some things that are going on. And so there's so much gratitude for the awareness of that, and for the intention of healing, and continuing to see and to know this vision of living heaven for all of life, for all beings, that it is a possibility. It just sometimes gets to come out in unconventional ways, things that we haven't done before. I don't think we're ever going to get there by doing the same things that we've done. That's the definition of insanity. Just keep doing the same things from the same level of consciousness, from the same way of how everything looks. Potentially it looks just great on the appearance level, but when you're able to read energy and we're able to see things more clearly, and you are able to discern of what is really hmm, light and really high level beautiful spiritual energy that's in harmony with life on this planet, and you're able to discern those things and the different things which might look really really polished and really really nice and really really perfect and really really underneath violent and very challenging in a way that's not bringing any healing and just brings more pain and more suffering. You're able to start discerning those things, and then you can choose what you want to participate in, what's in harmony for you and your soul's intention. Yes, so it is.